A breakthrough for scientists after they had a 20-minute conversation with a humpback whale.
Beneath the ocean's surface, an ancient conversation hums in rapid clicks. Messages passed between giants with brains 6 times our own. Using advanced AI, scientists are listening like never before, and what they have uncovered is something no one would have guessed in a million years.
This is a little how their conversation went.
What they are finding is revealing an entirely new way to understand communication between intelligent life forms on Earth. Since the dawn of ocean exploration, the vast, mysterious ocean has held its secret from us. For centuries, sailors who returned from long journeys told incredible stories of what some people believe to be mythical sea serpents, and, more believably, the haunting, melodic calls of whales. These sounds were just part of the sea's marvel, beautiful but barely explored. These marine animals have been a subject of admiration because of their size, but we never truly believed they had a mind that could match their might. For man, they were just resources to get blubber for lamps and bones for corsets, until one unexpected event: the call of the deep. In the 1970s, the world opened its eyes and was on the new wave of a new environmental awakening. It was there, and then, that a quiet discovery would change everything. Scientists who had been studying marine life for ages took an interest in humpback whales and soon set out to sea to record the vocalizations of these whales. And what they found was astonishing. The moans and groans of these animals weren't just random. They were intricate sounds that evolved over time, lasting several hours. The recordings were saved and then compiled into an album called Songs of the Humpback Whale. This scientific documentation was the start of what would get the attention of the public and also tickle the imagination of many. This one album helped take off a global movement that saved these magnificent creatures from the brink of extinction. As scientists went further into bioacoustics, which is the study of animal sounds, they were left with more questions than answers. Early researchers in the field used basic recording tools and spent hours carefully listening and analyzing, all in an effort to understand how whales communicate. They couldn't quite place what the sounds were. There were theories of the whale songs being a simple mating call, a call for help in time of danger, or just a form of communication. No one truly knew. For decades, we could only guess, held back by the sheer volume of data and the limits of our own senses. All we could hear were the sounds, but we didn't have the tools to understand them. And this is where a guy named Dr. David Gruber came in with a bright idea. Dr. David Gruber, an American marine biologist and National Geographic researcher, believed that, to understand whales, we didn't need the old tools used back then, but something new and technologically advanced. He looked to a different field for inspiration, one that was far from the sea but focused on space, called the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, or SETI. The idea behind SETI is to listen for signals from space in hopes of one day hearing a message from another civilization. Dr. Gruber thought, what if we've been looking for alien life in all the wrong places? He thought an alien intelligence could be right here on our own planet, in the form of a whale, the humpback whale. This crazy, almost sci-fi-like notion was the beginning of Project CETI, which means the Cetacean Translation Initiative. Not only did Dr. Gruber bring this insane idea to life, but he also brought together an extraordinary team consisting of marine biologists, computer scientists, linguists, and roboticists, all joined by a shared vision. Their aim wasn't just to document sounds, they were planning to do the impossible. Their plan was to create a two-way dialogue with another species. How was this group of people planning to listen to voices from a world so different from ours? To truly connect with whales, they needed more than just ears. They needed a way in. The Dream Team. The team Dr. David Gruber built for Project CETI was unlike any scientific group you've ever seen. It was a fusion of brilliant minds from all kinds of fields, who at first might not seem to have much in common, but were all united by the same audacious goal to crack the code of whale communication. This unconventional alliance was exactly what the project needed. Understanding the voices of the whales was a complicated task that no single discipline would have been able to solve. It's no surprise that these chosen experts who are masters in their own fields were picked. This collaboration was the engine of Project CETI, leading to something incredible. At the heart of the project were the people who had spent their lives in the water with these animals. People like Shane Giro, for example, who is a marine biologist, spent over a decade studying a single family of sperm whales near the Caribbean island of Dominica. This wasn't just a job for him. He was as dedicated to his job as he was to loving these magnificent creatures. He even knew the whales by name and watched them grow up. This long-term, intimate fieldwork became the bedrock of Project CETI. He was a great asset to the team. Who better to understand the workings of whales than Shane? Apart from Shane Giro's contributions, another asset to the team that wasn't present in the old research team was natural language processing, thanks to AI. This is where the start of what seemed impossible becomes a modern marvel. Before Project SETI became a thing, the idea of translating whale communication was a figment of researchers' imagination because of the limitations of technology at the time. However, a major breakthrough was on the horizon, not just in marine biology, but also in technology. Around 2019, the team came to a realization of getting the technology needed to build an underwater recording studio. This studio would be the first studio that could finally be able to translate the language of sperm whales. And just like the thought of getting on the moon, this discovery ignited the project and made the impossible suddenly feel within reach. The island of Dominica became the heart of this project. It was the perfect place for this kind of work, with its volcanic landscape and waters that get incredibly deep just off the coast. Its unique geography allows sperm whales to swim close to land, making them easier to study than in most other places. Not only that, but the island also has a stable and good amount of whale population, with many of the same families returning to the island year after year. It was also the same island Shane Giro's decades of work started on. With this newfound possibility, Project SETI officially launched in 2020. The initiative received a massive boost from the TED Audacious project, which provided $33 million in funding to get it off the ground and rolling. The funding allowed them to build an incredible team and also begin their first major task, to create what they call a 20-kilometer by 20-kilometer underwater listening and recording studio off the coast of Dominica. This setup would allow the AI to not only hear the whales, but also to understand who was speaking, to whom, and in what social situation. This was the technological bridge they needed to cross to go from listening to truly understanding. The two groups, the field scientists and the tech experts, worked together in a way that had never been done before. The biologists provided the deep knowledge and context, while the computer scientists brought the tools and power to sort the data. They worked together in a close partnership. The hands-on research guided the technology, and the technology helped them uncover new discoveries. This collaboration was Project SETI's greatest strength, allowing them to tackle the problem from all angles. What made them different from past efforts to understand animal language was how they combined knowledge from different fields and worked as one team. With this incredible team in place, they were ready to tackle the next big hurdle. How do you collect sound in the deep without asking a whale to wear a mic? The team had a bold answer to everyone's question: the oceans and the working technology. The main tool and part of the plan that would seal it all together would be the sensors. These sensors are designed and deployed arrays of hydrophones, which is another fancy word for underwater microphones. They are placed on the ocean floor. They do exactly what a normal microphone would do, but 1,000,000 times better. They not only amplify the sounds from these creatures, but they are also listening stations, placed in a grid-like pattern to constantly record everything, 24/7. It works like how a room filled with microphones on the wall would be able to catch any sound any time, even as little as a pin dropping. The same goes for the hydrophones, which the Project CT team did on a large scale, which can detect where any sound under the ocean comes directly from. By using this network of hydrophones, they could pinpoint a whale's clicks and figure out which particular whale was making a specific sound. This was a game changer for the expedition. It wasn't enough to just hear a whale. They also needed to know which whale was talking. To get an even clearer picture of the whale, the team had another brilliant idea of sending in a robotic fleet. Since it was impossible to get a whale to wear a mic, they could send out autonomous drones and robotic systems to get close to the whales. These robots were designed to place non-invasive suction cup tags onto the whales' backs. These tags were packed with sensors that not only recorded the audio, but also the whale's movement at any depth, its heart rate, and its social interactions with other whales. This was another important piece of data needed to understand what the sounds made by the whales meant. The hydrophone network could tell them what was said and by whom, while the tags provided the context, which could determine whether the whale was making a sound while hunting for food or whether it was socializing with its family. This behavioral data gave the AI the vital clues it needed to understand the reasons behind the clicks. All of this technology was all about collecting an incredible amount of data needed for their research. The comparison of the recent research and the ones from over 40 years ago is a lot different. While previous research might have collected a few hours or even a few days of whale sounds, Project CT was collecting millions, even billions, of vocalizations. While doing all these, they were building the largest library of whale sounds ever created by man. This monumental scale was essential because AI models, especially machine learning models, need huge data sets to find meaningful patterns. They learn by example, and the more examples they have, the smarter they get. This is why Project CT was so different from all previous efforts, which only focused on trying to find a few key phrases, unlike recent efforts that are centered on capturing a complete language. The data streamed in, a constant flow of clicks, whistles, and songs from the deep. But on its own, it was just noise. It was raw data without meaning, a vast ocean of information waiting to be decoded. The microphones and sensors had listened, and the tags had recorded, but the language remained a mystery. It was all leading to one crucial step. The real magic happened when this ocean of sound was fed into the machine learning models, transforming it from mere noise into the building blocks of a language. The AI breakthrough. To the human ear, the deep ocean is only a confusing jumble of clicks, grunts, whistles, and waves. Trying to find a particular pattern from all the noise is nearly impossible. The first biggest challenge for the Project CT team was to turn all the raw audio they collected into something the AI could actually interpret. In order to do this, they had to use a process that turned sound into a picture called a spectrogram. With this, they could take something as basic as the waves of the ocean and turn it into a visual chart. With this technology, they were able to monitor all the data they had collected. With this, AI could visually see the whale sounds. The AI's first task was to sort through these images and identify the codas, which are the specific sequences of clicks sperm whales use to communicate while ignoring all the background noise. This initial process of turning an invisible sound into a visible pattern was the crucial first step. This is where the power of machine learning came in, acting as a kind of modern-day Rosetta Stone. The team of scientists and researchers then took a step further into using advanced AI technologies, including something called deep learning and neural networks. These advanced technologies were incorporated as they are designed to learn the way humans do by recognizing patterns in large amounts of information. In this case, the AI wasn't given a list of rules about how whales communicate. Instead, it was trained using millions of whale codas, which are the short bursts of sound whales use to communicate. By studying these, the system slowly started to find patterns on its own. Over time, it began to understand which sounds often appeared together, how they changed in different situations, and what they might mean, just like how we learn a new language by listening and observing. Soon enough, these technologies began to notice tiny differences in the clicks that were completely unnoticeable to a human listener. It could detect subtle variations in rhythm, tempo, and other details that our brains simply couldn't process. Just like how a toddler or a young child learns a language, the computer was doing the same thing, only much, much faster, and with a dataset that a single human could never analyze in a lifetime. The sheer scale of the data, which is over millions of vocalizations over many years, was what gave the AI the power to find these hidden patterns. Without this huge dataset, the AI would have been as lost as a human biologist. With this new technology and AI's hard work, it led to the core of the discovery of the sperm whale's language. And, as expected, it was even more complex than anyone had ever imagined. These sounds weren't just a simple set of messages. After a massive collation of this data, it was discovered that whales use a complex system that works a bit like a phonetic alphabet. Of course, they don't have letters, but it doesn't take away the fact that they use different variables like rhythm, tempo, and what the scientists call ornamentation, which are extra little clicks at the beginning or end of a coda. The way these different elements are combined creates an insane amount of unique words or messages. For example, a slow, steady rhythm might mean one thing, while speeding up that rhythm or adding an extra click at the end could completely change the meaning. This discovery completely shattered the idea that only humans could have a complex, structured linguistic system. It showed that whales were also using a system with a lot of different parts that could be rearranged to create an intricate vocabulary. This was the moment everyone had all been hoping for. For the first time, we had a window into the actual syntax of their communication. We could see the building blocks of their language, but we still didn't know what it all meant. What were they actually saying? This is where things got a lot interesting. Unveiling the whale's worldview. For a long time, scientists thought if whales spoke a certain language, it would be simple and direct. In all their years of work and research, they expected a basic set of commands or even a survival language. But what the AI revealed was something much more unexpected and interesting. The patterns the computer found weren't tied to simple actions but to social context. It was the big reveal, and the moment everyone realized all the theories they had were wrong. Whales didn't just sing songs only because they had to. They did so to communicate with each other in ways that were complex and sometimes personal, that reflected their closeness to one another as well as their social lives. It was less of a simple code and more of a conversation. As the AI continued to analyze the data, it uncovered an even more astonishing level of detail. The team found that within the clicks, there were subtle variations that acted much like vowels do in human language. They discovered that the whales use a sophisticated system of what's called rubato, which is a fine-grained change in rhythm. It also has very subtle variations in the timing of clicks within a coda. And more importantly, a sequence of clicks that is the basic unit of communication for these creatures. These scientists were also able to learn that a whale's coda might have a specific rhythm, and a slight pause or a quickening of tempo could completely change its meaning. On top of that, the ornamentations too were also important to convey different messages. It was as if the basic words were being molded and shaped to express different emotions or intentions. This showed a level of linguistic sophistication that truly challenged the idea that this kind of communication was unique to humans. The AI also showed that this language was deeply tied to their social identity. The research revealed that different whale clans or families use distinct dialects to identify themselves. The same way people from different parts of a country might have different accents, these whale families have their own unique way of speaking. When the AI analyzed the clicks, it could tell which family was talking just by the subtle differences in their speech patterns. This meant that the language wasn't just a universal code for all sperm whales. It was a unique and dynamic living part of their culture, passed down through generations. A single word could have multiple meanings depending on the rhythm and the context of the conversation, and the specific dialect it was spoken in. With the help of AI and other advanced technology, scientists have been able to not just identify the language of these whales, but also give humanity the window to a culture no one knew existed. Now being able to understand the communication patterns of different whales, studies and research have been implemented to better have an idea of the social connection, identity, and shared history of these whales. This realization changes our understanding from a simple translation of words to knowing the ins and outs of marine life and what it holds. But what could this new development mean for the future? The goal of two-way communication. For decades, we've only been able to listen to the whales. Now, thanks to the AI, we finally have a way to understand the structure of their language. This new understanding opens up a thrilling and somewhat scary next phase of Project CD. Moving from listening to talking. The team is no longer content with just decoding. They're aiming to communicate. Their goal is to build a real-time communication system, what some people are calling an underwater chatbot. This isn't about teaching whales English, but also about using the patterns and structures the AI discovered to create messages in their own language. It's just like how a scientist would use a specially designed speaker to play a specific sequence of clicks, hoping for a response. The team is starting with simple interactions, like greeting a whale, or maybe asking a question about a particular object. It's an ambitious dream, a true two-way conversation between two very different species. This audacious goal also brings up some deep, thought-provoking questions about the ethics of interspecies dialogue. Should we be talking to them, and what is our part to play in obstructing the balance of marine life? When you start to build a bridge between two worlds, you have to think about what might cross that bridge. From there on, the question and thought of whether it is right to introduce our technology and our language into their world starts to come up. Some scientists worry that a human-initiated dialogue could disrupt their natural social structure or even change their language. It's a huge moral question that the Project CETI team takes very seriously. They're not just trying to achieve a technical goal. They're trying to do it in a way that respects the whales and their culture. They want the conversation to happen on the whales' terms, in their own language and in their own time. The team had a specific recent success story that shows this new future is already beginning. In 2023, the team had what they call the first intentional human-whale interaction using the language they had decoded. A diver, using a special underwater speaker, played a specific sperm whale coda. The response was a huge moment for the project. A whale in the area responded with the exact same coda. It was a direct back-and-forth exchange, not just a random coincidence. The team couldn't believe it. This wasn't just a recording. This was a conversation. It was a single, small exchange, but its significance was monumental. It proved that their understanding of the language was accurate enough to be used for basic communication. This event wasn't just a scientific breakthrough, it was a positive sign that we might one day be able to talk to other minds on our planet. This realization changes everything. We're on the verge of something that was once only found in science fiction. We're moving from observing to participating, from listening to interacting. Communicating with another species is a monumental step, but the implications extend far beyond the whales themselves. This technology could rewrite our place in the universe. Implications for science and humanity. The work of Project CETI is forging a new frontier for biology. For a long time, marine biology and animal cognition were limited by our ability to observe and interpret. We could watch whales, but we couldn't understand what they were saying or thinking. Now, with AI as the main translator, there are unlimited opportunities waiting out there with more to explore and uncover. It wouldn't be about studying their bodies or behaviors. The chances of finding out the structures of their lives from the communities they make up and their intelligence, which was one humanly impossible thing, are now high. This research is completely changing how we see animal communication, revealing a level of complexity and social value that no one could have imagined. With this, some people believe that so many wonders of the world might now be explained, and also some of the biggest questions in science could possibly have an answer. With all the data from Project CETI, it can not only help us understand sperm whales, but also revolutionize the very existence of the very nature of intelligence itself. Perhaps the most interesting and mind-bending implication of this research is its connection to space. The project's name, CETI, which is a deliberate term derived from SETI, has undeniable similarities. For decades, scientists have been scanning the cosmos for radio signals, hoping to find a sign of life. But what if they've been looking for the wrong kind of message? With the success of Project CETI, the whales give us a blueprint for extraterrestrial contact. The methods and algorithms they developed to find patterns in clicks and decode whale language could be the exact tools we would use if we ever encounter an alien civilization. If an alien species communicates in a way that is completely foreign to us, we now have a proven strategy for how to approach it. The principles of using AI to find structure in a complex, unknown signal are universal. This work is not just about communicating with whales, but also about preparing for the possibility of communicating with anyone, anywhere in the universe. It seems like a far-fetched thought, but the journey to space, unlike any other, might have also begun from the curiosity of the ocean. Finally, the work of Project CETI brings us back to Earth in the most powerful way. With complete understanding of the whale language, a new level of empathy and conservation is fostered. For centuries, whales have been seen as a species to be harvested, then a species to be saved, but always from a distance. By knowing that they are a vital part of research, we are forced to confront their intelligence and personhood in a way that is hard to ignore. When we hear their communication, their concerns about their families, their culture, and their world, they are no longer just animals in the ocean. They are beings with thoughts, feelings, and a history. This new connection strengthens the case for their protection and the health of our oceans. Knowing that these creatures have a rich, complex social life makes their survival all the more important. It gives us a personal, emotional reason to care about the health of the marine environment that they call home. The discovery of the whales might seem over, but it's only the beginning. The work of Project CETI gives us a new way to see the world and a new role to play in it. So what's next for Project CETI? The team at Project CT isn't slowing down, as there are already plans in place to expand their research to other whale species, like orcas, and refine their AI with new algorithms. This effort is part of a global movement where scientists are using AI to study animal communication, showing us a world of complex language we never knew existed. To round it up, their work is about more than just science. It's also about building a bridge between our species and theirs for a shared future on a shared planet. The whales have a lot to tell us about the health of the ocean, and we are finally learning how to listen. So, what are your thoughts on this groundbreaking research? Do you think talking to whales is a huge step in the right direction for humanity? Or do you have reservations about what it might mean? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell on our channel so you never miss any of our uploads. If you enjoyed this video, click on the next video on your screen to watch more videos like this one.